Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anne and this is In Search of Wonder. A couple weeks ago, my husband and I were out on a little date, which is what we call going alone without the children to run errands. And we filmed a fun video, which I will share with you in just a moment. But first, I just wanted to give a little shout out to my husband because he is the best husband a girl could ever have, and I'm glad that I snagged him before anybody else got to him. And he has just always been so supportive of me in every endeavor I have had throughout our married life. He has been very supportive of all of that. I mean, for goodness sakes, he watches every single one of my YouTube videos, even though reading is not his favorite thing. He just does it to support me. How sweet is that? The man makes me coffee every morning. And guess what? He doesn't even drink coffee, but he makes me coffee and he's really good at it. Actually, he's better than me at making coffee in our French press because he's done it so often. Like, he knows the proportions perfectly and he knows exactly what number to grind it on the grinder and everything. So he is learning how to use the used espresso machine that I bought earlier this year. And he was so proud of himself yesterday, the shot that he pulled, because it was so beautiful with such, with lovely, lovely layer of foam on the top. Yeah. He doesn't even drink the stuff. I mean, guys, come on. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the video that we made. Hello, and welcome back to my channel, In Search of Wonder. I'm Anne, and this is Jonathan, my husband, and I roped him in to do this video with me today, so we'll see. I'm gonna ask him some questions about me and my reading life, and we'll see how well he knows me.
This is not gonna be good.
Actually, I think it will be pretty good. But today we are on a date. It's like the kind of date you go on when you've been married for a while, when you run errands without the kids. That's the kind of date that we were on today. And part of it was I dragged him around to some little free libraries, and I picked up this one. And then Oliver Twist, which I may or may not read for October. But I've read that one before, so I think I might try something different. But we'll see. Anyways, I don't think I have a copy of it, so I got that one. Anyways, and then also for our date, for the date part, I got some coffee, some cold brew at my favorite coffee shop. Let's show them your drink. It's very sophisticated.
Root beer.
From McDonald's. Yes. So, anyways, that's our date. Cold brew coffee and root beer.
We are really happening.
We are very happening. Anyways, so I'm going to ask him some questions and see if he gets the right answer. Now, I wrote down answers for most of them, but some of them have more correct answers than the ones I wrote down. So,
like I said, I'm in trouble.
Could possibly be other correct answers. So, we'll see. I feel like the first one should be really easy. Are you ready?
Once again, she says it's easy. She's setting me up. I'm going to fail.
I think it's easy. Okay. What is my favorite book?
Pride and Prejudice.
See, it was the first one on my list. You got a point. Good job. I also wrote Les Miserables on there because, just in case you thought of that one, because I also like that one. But I've read Pride and Prejudice several times, but I've only read the complete Les Miserables once. So, Pride and Prejudice wins out. What is my favorite genre?
Classical lit.
Okay, I like classics. That's not the answer I wrote, though. Can you think of anything else?
Christian fiction.
Can you be more specific?
Romantic Christian fiction.
Can you be more specific?
Regency romantic Christian fiction.
Oh, see, now you got extra specific. Because what I wrote was historical fiction. But Regency is a favorite era of mine. So, yeah. You skipped over that category, went straight for the ultra specific. Pretty much like any historical fiction. Pretty much any era. Although I feel like I've read a lot of World War II, so I don't like that as much anymore because I feel like I've read a lot of that. Or, well, authors write a lot about World War II, but yeah, otherwise. Okay. Who are some of my favorite authors?
Jane Austen.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's a good one. Good one. That's all. That's all you got.
I'm drawing a blank. From your childhood and your teens, it would have been Jeanette Oki.
Oh. Well, she was the first romance author my mom let me read. So,
yeah. But
I did read all of her books at one point. But that was many years ago.
I'm drawing a blank on the rest.
You got a blank?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's okay.
At least got one, right?
Yeah, you got the main one because she was the first one on my list, so that counts. I also had, for other authors, well, the only other classic author I wrote down was Elizabeth Gaskell, but I have others.
But I never got that.
Yeah. Others, not really classic, but they, I mean, anyway. They both passed away a long time ago, and they don't write anymore, so I don't know if that counts as classic or not, but Patricia Varian and Georgette Hare. Not ringing a bell. Yeah. And then current authors, mostly Christian authors, Rosanna M. Wright, Susie Finkbeiner, Francine Rivers, Amanda Dykes.
I said the one I knew.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good job. We'll give you a gold star. Okay. What books did I love as a child? I already mentioned Jeanette Oki. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count. And also as a child.
Berenstain Bears.
Okay. You watched my video. Okay.
But I also like Berenstain Bears and also Richard Scarry like you did. So there you go.
Yes. See?
Anne of
Common
Green
childhood
Gables.
memories. Yes. Very good. I wrote that one down. Excellent. Yeah.
Well, Pride and Prejudice, I don't know when you started reading that one, but that's already been out there.
I was older, yeah. I think when I was younger, like
Christie?
elementary. Yeah, I was a teenager.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm thinking like elementary. That's when I was a teenager for sure. I read Christie. Loved it. Still a favorite. There's one I kept trying to get the boys to read when they were younger, but they didn't love it as much as I did. Actually, there were a couple series that I loved as a kid that my kids did not appreciate.
Well, I tried to get them to read the Hardy Boys, but they never really wanted to read that. Or Nancy Drew, any of those.
Yeah, they did not catch on to those at all. They did like the Boxcar
Children.
Yeah, they read a lot of those.
And we listened to the Little House on the Prairie and Little House in the Big Woods and all those.
Right.
And that was one of your big ones you liked.
Yes, I did like Little House. Yeah, that's good. I didn't write that down, but yeah. Well, one of the authors I was thinking of was Beverly Cleary. I remember just laughing out loud to her books. I thought they were so funny. And I loved Ramona and Beezus and those stories. But the boys read they read one of them, I think, in school when they were in 1st or 2nd grade. And they read a couple of others, but they never really got into it. And I thought it was so funny. I thought they would like it. And then I tried to read them. The Moffat series was another one by Eleanor Estes. And I tried to read them that one, and they just thought it was so boring. I thought it was funny when I was little. I laughed out loud. Yes. They don't go for the funny books, I guess. All right, next question. How many books do I read in a year?
Close to 100, usually.
Very good. Good answer. So my aim is like 2 a week, which is like 100-ish.
That'd be 104. So.
Yeah. I don't always get there. And sometimes I go past. Like this year, I think I'm going to pass them. But yeah, that's my goal. Good job. You get another point. Good job. All right. Okay. What makes me want to read a particular book? You have a choice. Multiple choice options. The cover, the description or the blurb, or somebody's recommendation.
I'd probably 3.
Very good.
I would probably be number 1.
Totally. Very visual here. Yes, I don't like to read it just because I feel like there are so many books in the world to read, and I don't want to waste my time on books that aren't worth my time. So I am much more likely to pick up a book that someone has said, hey, you'll love this, than I am to pick it based on the cover. Or if I've already read something by that author and I know I like that book, I will be more likely to read their other books regardless of what the cover looks like or the description or anything. So yeah, I mean, I'm like an interesting cover will make me look twice, but it won't make me read the book unless I also see what people are saying about it, if they recommend it. Okay, oh, this one is a softball question. You're totally gonna get this.
Nope, gonna fail.
What is my favorite movie adaptation of a book?
Pride and Prejudice.
Yes, but which one?
The BBC version.
Yes.
That's like 5 hours long.
Yes. And he's watched it a couple times with me. See? Such a good husband. Yes, the 1995 Pride and Prejudice, for sure.
She also likes Les Miserables, though.
I do. But I prefer the musical version to the... I mean, the movie musical version, like, the cinematography was good and the acting was really good, but the singing was subpar. We'll just go with that. So it's not my favorite. I mean, the musical is an excellent adaptation, but the movie version, I'd rather just listen to the soundtrack personally.
And sing to it.
And sing to it. Yes, indeed. All right, what is you might not know this one. This one is a trick question. What is my favorite book in the Anne of Green Gables series? He's thinking hard.
Well, there's Anne of Green Gables, there's Anne of Avonlea.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other ones?
Anne of the Island, Anne of Windy Poplars, Anne's House of Dreams. There's another one in there, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside.
I don't know, it's not Anne of Green Gables, I'm guessing, because that'd be too easy. I don't know, I'm gonna go with Anne of Avonlea.
Okay.
Or Anne in the Woods.
Anne in the Woods?
I don't know if that was one. Wait, that's Little House in the Big Wood. That's, sorry, wrong series.
Windy Poplars?
Hey, see, I got there somewhere. There's trees.
Well, okay, so my favorite would be, I would say, Rilla of Ingleside, which is the last one. But really, Rilla of Ingleside doesn't stand on its own, whereas the first one, Anne of Green Gables, does, and is a really, really awesome book all by itself. So it is a little bit of a toss-up there. But I like Rilla of Ingleside because I read it when I was about the age of Rilla in the book, which is Anne of Green Gables' daughter. And I read it when I was her age, and it so aptly captured like a girl coming of age. Now I didn't live in an era like Rilla did when, they're on the cusp of World War I and going through that, and she's dealing with all of the resulting tragedy and drama that goes with it. I didn't have that, but everything else, like the interpersonal relationships and her personal growth, all that. Anyways, it's a really good coming of age story. More so than Anne, because Anne doesn't really change much or grow much. She doesn't experience, well, she experiences some of the angst of like being in school and college and that sort of thing, but as far as personal experiences, coming of age, like the books don't really dwell on that, but Rilla of Ingleside does, and it's really well done, and I just identified a lot with Rilla in the story. So now you know, Rilla of Ingleside.
In one ear, out the other.
Yes.
I'll try to remember.
You care so much. It's a very important detail. Okay. How long on average, I don't think even I know the answer to this question, but we'll see what you think. How long on average does it take me to read a book?
Depends on the book. If it's one of your music books that's technical, it's going to take you a long time. If it's one of your lighter fluff books, you can get through
Brain
that.
candy.
You can get through that in a few days. So
yeah,
it really
or
depends.
less.
And how many days
Depends.
you have to, how much time you have to read during that time.
Yes.
So it can vary from a few days to 6 months.
Yes. If it's a really good, like, easy novel, depending on how much time I have, I can read it in a day or two, but, you know, a couple hours at a time, but, yeah, usually a few days at a time. Let's see. Okay. What makes me DNF a book? And if you're not up with the lingo, DNF
You stop reading
means,
it?
Yes. Good job. You learned quick. Smarter than I thought.
If there's content you don't like in it, probably if it's moving too slowly for you,
Yeah.
or if it's just a waste of your time, you have too many other good books to read.
Yeah.
If it's not well written, bad grammar, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. That pretty much covers the bases. Yeah. Let's see. What are some genres I don't enjoy and I avoid reading?
What I read,
Such as?
books that have, like those books of buildings and stuff that I like to read about, you know, or books about cities like Leesburg, where it has the old and the new, and architecture books, stuff
Design.
like that. Design books, yeah. Technical books, unless it's music.
What about fiction genres?
You're not into sci-fi at all.
Okay, what happened to the light here? Oh, that's weird. That's
I
funny.
think we're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no sci-fi, no Star Wars. You've read a few of the things your son read, but that's because you were reading it with him, not because you loved it.
And I enjoyed it.
Like Percy Jackson or anything like that.
Right,
you're not
yeah.
really into
I never,
that.
yeah. But I did read, I started 2 series with the boys. I started the Wing Feather series. Okay, what keeps happening with the light here? Let's keep doing strange things. I read, wow, I feel like I'm making it worse. Bend down. I read the Wing Feather Saga with Benjamin, first book, and he loved it, and he really wants me to read the other books. He read the other books in the series, and he really wants me to read them. I just have so many books that I fully enjoy, and then on top of that, he gave me the entire storyline of all 4 books in great detail, so I feel like I've read it now, so I don't think I need to actually read it. Oh, you're so smart. Except that didn't help. It's so weird. So I'm taking in a lot of light. Come a little closer. There we go. Okay. Anyways. And then what was the one that I read with Ethan at the same time? Oh, The Unwanteds. I started that with him. And then he ended up reading the whole series too. So those were fine to read with them, but not what I would.
Which Ethan reads faster than her.
Yes, my oldest son, he reads so fast.
And I read like 4 books a year.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, at least you read. It's good. Okay. Now this, actually, I have a couple more questions about my reading life, but then I have other questions that don't necessarily have right or wrong answers. Okay, next. What is a book that made me cry?
I don't know. I know there was one, there's been some recently where you were in bed crying and it was difficult. Oh, the one with the guy from Vietnam. No, not Vietnam. Korea, where the family lived on very little money and he had to work. And
Recently?
last year, I think.
Like, was it one where he like an escape one? Like
I
he
think
escaped
so.
from North Korea?
Or something, but it was the really bad conditions that were there, and he wrote about it.
Yeah, there were a couple, I read a couple like escaping from North Korea books that were really hard. Well, yeah, I didn't even think about that one. And yes, I did read a couple of very heavy books this summer that made me cry a lot. But I already talked about those in other videos. Trying to think. Christy is one that always makes me cry well, I guess I won't spoil it, but there is a character that dies, and it always makes me cry. Copious tears. And yeah. Okay. What is a book I hated?
I know there's ones you stopped reading, but I don't know them. And I don't know what books you hated necessarily.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, two came to my mind. The first one was Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I did finish it.
I promise I would have never got that.
I did finish it, and I literally wanted to throw it across the room when I read it because I hated it so much. Strongly, I mean, I think it's a good book, whatever. I understand what Thomas Hardy was trying to do and everything, but I did not enjoy the experience of reading it. And then the other one I read earlier this year, oh my goodness, it was called I Am a Cat. It's a Japanese book that was translated, and I thought it would be funny, and from the description of it, because it's supposed to be this cat's observation on his family's life, so I thought it would be funny, and I guess it was funny sometimes, but mostly it was just excessively boring, because the cat was prosing on and on about the ridiculous humans, and then he would relate like very lengthy philosophical conversations between the people in his family, the father in the family and his friends who would come, and they would amuse themselves by talking about politics and culture and philosophy. I guess the funny part was that, like, the father in the family especially, he was kind of like a bumbling idiot who thought he knew things, but he didn't actually know anything. So I guess that was supposed to be funny, but mostly I just kept falling asleep when I was trying to read it. And it took me a very long time to read it. I don't know, you familiar? I think I ranted about it a few times.
That could also be like you read at night too, a lot in bed.
Yes, that's true.
So
yeah, but if it's interesting, I'm able to keep my eyes open a lot more than if it's
this is true.
a cat prosing on about ridiculous owners that he lives with.
Yes.
Okay. What is a book I frequently recommend? You probably don't know, because most of the time I'm probably like writing on social media or texting or whatever my recommendations.
Probably depends on what the person's asking for too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic, or is it a modern fictional lit, or are you recommending it to your sisters, which you all read about the same stuff? So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I thought of two. One is Everything Sad is Untrue by Daniel Mayeri, which I think that everybody would enjoy that book. I think everybody would like it. Actually, I think you would like it too. It's just a good story. Very well written, and I think it appeals to a wide range of people and experiences. And it's funny, and it's sad, and it's just very well written. So it's a good book. I recommend that one a lot. And then the other one I recommend a lot, because I think a lot of people don't know about it, is especially people who are looking for Christian fiction recommendations, is the Price of Privilege series by Jessica Dada, because it is the only book that she's written. Well, it's a trilogy, so there's 3 books, but it's really like 1 book and 3 volumes. It's not really like a series. They don't stand alone. The story flows from one to the next, and it's just very well done. It has a little bit of gothic feel, a little bit of Bronte to it. Has set in the Victorian era in England. Has kind of it's very atmospheric. Not really fantastical, but she does kind of build a world a little bit there that has a little bit of an otherworldly feel. The villain has a little bit of an otherworldly feel to him, so it's just really interesting. It's very atmospheric, very gothic, but it's such a, and the ending is like, I won't spoil it, but the ending is, that's another book that made me cry a lot. Every time I read it, lots and lots of tears. So that's a good one. Okay, last one about my reading. What are some books I have reread more than once?
Pride and Prejudice.
We keep coming back to that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Always a safe answer. It's like in Sunday school.
God.
But, God or Jesus. It's a safe answer to any of the teacher's questions. Safe answer to my reading questions. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice.
There are some other literature classics that you have read quite a bit too. I mean, you come back to Anne of Green Gables. We listened to the whole Little House on the Prairie, Little House in the Big Woods, as we were driving out towards that area. And then we actually went and visited one of her houses, and the museum there actually had the violin that her father played, and that was quite a moment for her.
That was.
Talk about crying. She pretty much cried when the violin was there, and it was the real one that Paul used. So, yes, so we've done those. You've read those before. So
yeah,
I think it's more the classics that you read, not the lit or the fluff. You don't reread that stuff usually.
Yeah, that's true. Christie's another one I reread. I have reread some Georgette Hare, which is lighter. I mean, they're I guess they're kind of classic now, because she wrote in like the 60s and 70s, I guess, but they're lighter, but I do reread those. Okay, so this question is a test for you.
I'm going down, folks.
A test for you.
I may be sleeping out of the house tonight. So
if you answer this question wrong, we may need counseling. What is the correct way to get my attention when I'm reading?
Don't.
So see, he knows the right thing to do. He knows.
See, folks.
Does he do it?
If you start talking when she's reading, you've just wasted your breath, because she's reading and she won't hear you. My son is the same way. So you have to learn, and probably wait till the end of the chapter, wait till she puts the book down, have a coffee ready to hand to her as you stop her from reading. Many, many things, but just don't.
And yet.
Just walk away slowly.
And yet. You still do.
Because there are times I need to interact with you. Remember, I'm the people person. I need human interaction sometimes.
If you must.
You and your little booker in your own little world, and I'm over here by myself.
Aww,
Me and your other son are all by ourselves. While your 2 others are, you and your other son are perfectly happy to sit in a room all by yourselves and done peopling.
Yeah, so that's why God gave you Benjamin.
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. At least you know. All right. Did you know when we were married what you were getting into as far as reading goes?
I had an idea. My dad's a very prolific reader. My dad literally, he's very fast. He's probably as fast as my son is. So He reads a lot, and then he listens to books on tape
Yeah,
in
he
his
listens
car.
to a lot of audiobooks.
So my dad reads a lot. So he has like a library of like 10,000 books. So, and he's read most of them. So it kind of did. I didn't realize the whole thing of not even hearing me though when you're reading. That is one thing I didn't know.
Hey, I got that straight from my mom.
You got a lot of things straight from your mom, and you have a good mom, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. What book character do I think you are most like?
I know I'm not most like Mr. Darcy.
Not really.
The Cat in the Hat. I don't know.
No. Actually, I think you are more like Mr. Bingley. Mr. Darcy's friend.
Oh.
Because you're outgoing and friendly, and like everybody thinks you're
At
very,
least you didn't say the preacher.
very nice. Mr. Collins. No. Not at all. But definitely like Mr. Bingley, because like you're always friendly and nice to people. And so it's easy for you to make friends and interact with people, etc. And the other thing is like Mr. Bingley always didn't trust his own judgment. He always looked to Mr. Darcy for advice, and I feel like you can be like that. Like you have good judgment, but you don't always trust it, so you look to like your dad mostly and other people for confirmation and for direction. Like you're less likely to take a big step on your own. So yeah, I would say
I'm very slow to make a big step too.
yes. Yeah, need a little bit of kick in the pants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last one. This one is about you. What books have you read that you enjoyed? So I know like reading is not your favorite thing to do. Like me, it's not as much of a hobby, but you have read books. So what books have you read that you liked?
Well, the one I just finished was a Ken Ham book, which was good. It was for you guys, you'd finish it in like an hour and a half. My son was making fun of me because I think it took me from January to now to finish it. But anyway, but that was
But he was even figuring out like how many, like he calculated approximately how many words on the page, and he broke it down like how many minutes a day Jonathan read it, and then he was calculating, I don't know how many words per minute. I think he was trying to come up. Anyways, what was it called?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
A Nation Divided or something.
It was
like
A Nation Divided
Yeah.
by Ken Ham. Yes.
Yeah.
So I read that one.
I need to read that one.
Changed into His Image by Jim Berg has always been a good one that I read through. That was a while ago though. I'd have to look at my bookshelf in my office because there's several on there that I've read, but I don't remember now.
I think Not a Fan.
Not a
Do you
Fan
remember
was
reading
a good
that one? I remember because you've read that one since we were married. And you really liked that.
Yeah, read that.
Any fiction?
I read through the whole Left Behind series when that came out. That was really the first series I ever read through in my life. And I was in college when I was already being forced to read a lot of things, and I actually read through that series. So that's the first one where I was anticipating the next book coming out. I read the first 5 or 6 because I hadn't started it, and then as the books came out, I read it. So
That's another series we tried to get the boys into.
they didn't do it.
Didn't
No.
really like. Well, Ethan read the younger version, like the middle grade version, a few years back. He read at least some of those.
But that's really the only fiction I think I've read that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, last year you read one by Peretti.
Oh yes,
Frank
I did.
Peretti.
I've also read This Present Darkness, Piercing the Darkness, and then the one I read last year was The Prophet,
Okay.
and that was good. I made it through that. That was, yeah.
Yeah. You made it through that.
There was times I couldn't make it through that.
That's quite the endorsement.
Yeah, it was a good book.
Yeah.
Overall.
I have read a couple books by him, but I don't think I read. Have I read that one?
You bought it at a thrift store for me,
Yeah.
so I don't think you read it.
Okay. I know I've read a couple by him, but the titles run together. I don't remember which ones. All right. Well, that is all the questions I have for you. And I feel like you passed the test. Well done.
Yay! Score!
Yes. Any questions for me?
No. I'm not that dumb.
You have no curiosities.
I may have curiosities, but I'm not dumb enough to ask them.
Not on a video.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. So I would love to hear if you guys, if your husbands are willing to do this with you, their answers to similar questions. I'm not going to make it like a book tag or anything, but I would love to hear some of you to meet your husbands and see what they would think, what they think about your reading life, how well they know it. And you can let me know in the comments. He'll read them, so be careful what you say. Let me know in the comments what you think and how well he did. And I'll see you next time.